Hello, I'm Nicole Marchluck, and I have the privilege of speaking with Jimmy Choi again this year. Hello, Jimmy.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, remind our viewers, and about this great organization, the Fox Foundation.
Yes. So I myself was diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's when I was 27 years old. That was 13 years ago. I turned 40 this year.
So do I, don't worry.
And you know, my wife and I have been fundraising for the foundation for quite a few years now. And when we're looking at ways to raise money, the Fox Foundation really bubbled up to the top as sort of the one of our go-to foundations. And the reason being, and why I believe the work that they're doing there is going to make a difference one day, is that the Fox Foundation is in business to put themselves out of business. Their sole purpose is to fund research. There are many organizations out there that will provide care to the Parkinson's community, promote living well. And it's not that the Fox Foundation doesn't do any of that, but really their main focus is on research. And the research that they're focusing on is around sort of the forward-thinking research and investigating every single avenue out there possible, and leave no stone unturned sort of philosophy. Big pharmaceutical companies nowadays, they could be just looking, tunnel vision because they're investing, millions of dollars down a certain path. But there are a lot of smart people with independent labs that are doing things that aren't just getting the funding that they need. So the Fox Foundation, the board of directors, and really the people that are out there looking for these projects to fund, and making sure that some of these move to clinical trial status. So that's one of the more important ways that they're helping the Parkinson's community. And another reason is that they are very lean in the way they operate. 89 cents of every dollar goes to research. Okay, so we're talking 11% of administrative fees, and the rest of it is going to research. And that's the Michael J. Fox Foundation as a whole. There's another arm of the Michael J. Fox Foundation that's which is where I belong in terms of a volunteer, and that's Team Fox. Team Fox is the grassroots fundraising organization, just made up of people like myself in other communities around the country that are just raising monies by flipping pancakes, running 5Ks, running marathons. Anything that you can think of. In fact, yesterday here in downtown Chicago, there was an event called Ed's Big Bowl. It was a bowling event, right, with silent auctions. The Chicago Young Professionals here does an event every year. It's called Party Like a Fox, and they invite restaurants, top restaurants in the area, and they come in and they feed the people. And with donations and things, and they raise $60,000. Ed's Big Bowl raises more than $100,000 a year. So it's just people coming in and doing their work, and really bringing the money to the foundation. And what's really great about Team Fox is that for the last 4 years, somebody anonymously has been kind enough to write checks to the Team Fox branch so that all of the administrative fees are covered, so that every penny that we in the grassroots community brings into the foundation, to the Team Fox, goes directly to research. So Team Fox on its own last year brought in just over $11 million, okay? And every penny of that went directly to research.
Oh, that's great.
So that's why we chose the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And then, there's personal reasons that along that as well, of course. So the foundation itself that's why they're important.
Yeah. Because, like you said, they want to put themselves out of business. They're just dedicated to finding a cure.
Exactly.
And yeah, and with such a great, efficient program where most of the money, almost 90% of the money, is going to the research instead of the overhead. It's, yeah. So no wonder you went with the Fox Foundation.
Yeah, and it was really an accident not an accident that I know about the Fox Foundation, because obviously Michael J. Fox puts himself out there in the public eye and raises a lot of awareness, which is why he's such a great leader for us. When I was diagnosed, I was 27 years old. I was very active. I played baseball, football, and I wrestled here at Bolingbrook High School growing up. And I was captain of the football team, and that's the last thing you want to hear when at age 27 is you have Parkinson's. So I really didn't do anything about it. I ignored it, and really the most I did was take meds to just try to hide the symptoms. And I continued working long hours, and stress is not a friend of Parkinson's. So fast forward 8 years later, and when I'm well into my 30s, we have a very young family. I have my daughter and my son. And 8 years later, one day I was walking down the stairs holding my son, who was just a couple of months old at the time. I fell down the stairs, lost balance. I fell down. Mason was fine. I not so much.
Yeah.
More mentally defeated than anything else. I just thought to myself that, I'm too young. There's still things I can do, and that's really when I started to look into clinical research. The first thing that people do is they look for that magic cure. It's not out there, but through the search I found, and I signed up for clinical trial after clinical trial. I figured, what, if I'm not smart enough, and I know I'm not smart enough to find a cure, maybe I can become the human pincushion, right? Maybe something about me can help trigger something that help find a cure. But ultimately I was accepted into, luckily enough, I like to say, to be accepted into a clinical trial that involves stem cell research. And stem cells, the idea of that whole trial was to harvest stem cells and to grow the cells in the lab so they become dopamine producing cells. As people with Parkinson's are, the part of our brain that's dying off are the part that's producing dopamine, which is why we have movement issues and balance issues and so on. So these dopamine producing cells are grown in the lab and then implanted directly onto the brain, with the hopes that it will reproduce itself and continue generating healthy dopamine producing cells. So that was back in 2010, so roughly 6 years ago, a little bit under 6 years ago, and the results were great, I thought, because I was walking with a cane at that point, and the procedure allowed me to drop the cane and really get moving again. Started walking, which led to jogging, which led to running, which led to adding distance, and I did my first 5K in April of 2012, and by the end of May I did my first 5-miler, and then in September I did my first half marathon. And then I set my sights on the Chicago Marathon just a month later in October in 2012. When I decided I wanted to do the marathon, it was sold out. So I desperately wanted to get in because I trained hard. I felt that I was making great progress, and I didn't want that progress to start. And you go through progressions. After a half marathon, it's a marathon.
Oh yeah, you can't stop.
You can't stop, right? Exactly. Tell that to my wife. Going back to research, I found that there are ways into the marathon, and it's through charity programs. So naturally, it led me to go back and look, hey, does the Fox Foundation have a charity program for the marathon? And that's how I found Team Fox. And they were gracious enough to provide me with one of their last bibs to the 2012 marathon. And I helped raise money for the Fox Foundation. The first year in 2012, I raised just over $8,000. And I've not stopped running since. 2012 was the start of my running life. In 2013, I ran over 1,000 miles. 2014, I ran over 1,600 miles. And last year, I challenged myself to run at least 2,015 miles for 2015. And I was able to do that. And I want to say I came in just about 2,200 miles. Wow. So as the more races that I did for the foundation, you want to raise money for the cause, because ultimately that's the way I feel I'm contributing. Again, I'm not smart enough to figure it out. I'm do anything that I can to enable the people that are smart enough. So through running, you get tired of asking the same people for donations all the time. So last year, my wife and I decided that we should host our own 5K. It only makes sense, right?
Oh, obvious.
I run all the time. I should know how these things work. And my wife is my greatest supporter. She's always there for all of my races. In the middle of the race to provide the support that I need, and always there at the end. And I'm very grateful for that. So she's very familiar as well with how races are run. So we thought, naturally, let's do a 5K. We decided on the name Shake It Off. And I'll be honest, partly because Taylor Swift just released that song.
Yeah.
It was highly popular at the time. But if you think about it, and it really relates to my new approach now to my diagnosis, is you're dealing with challenges, but you know what, shake it off and get it done, right? Sort of like the walk it off, you turn an ankle, walk it off, rub some dirt on it, keep going. And that's my philosophy, and we thought that Shake It Off was a great fit. So last year we ran our first Shake It Off. We were capped at 300 runners, which we sold out weeks before the race. We also had 97 virtual runners join us from all over the country. We had representation from 42 of the 50 states. And they're just out there running on their own time. We send them a finisher's medal. We send them a participant's T-shirt, and they send us a picture of them, and they hashtagged it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else. So we have a nice collection of photos, and we're including them in sort of our photo albums. And it's just like, having their support with us on that day.
And how many countries did you have represented?
Yeah, we had United States, Canada, China, Australia, France, and the United Kingdom represented in those virtual runners as well. So, the support that we had is obviously greater than we had anticipated selling out our first race. And it was all done through Facebook, friends sharing.
That's one of the great things about social media.
Exactly.
Is that you can get the word out pretty quickly.
Exactly. So, we haven't done anything different this year. We've expanded our capacity to 500 runners on site with us. And our goal is to have up to 200 virtual runners, We're well on our way, we believe, to selling out our event. That's going to take place on April 9th, Saturday, here in Bolingbrook. Last year it was 17 degrees at start.
Oh.
And hopefully this year will be much warmer. But what's great about our participants, and really showed me the type of support that I have, and really gave me a new look on how people are, view the things that we're trying to do. 17 degrees out, almost everybody showed up. I mean, 290 plus runners showed up in 17-degree weather with their families to run the race with us. So we're very grateful for that. This year, 500 runners, it's going to be crazy.
And the runners of all ages, correct?
Yes, runners of all ages. We have runners this year already signed up as young as 5 years old. In fact, my daughter is going to be running this as well. She's 8. And then we've got runners as seasoned as 87 years old as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are they all Bolingbrook residents, or are they from around the Chicagoland area?
No, so there are mostly from the Chicagoland area. A big part is from Bolingbrook. Bolingbrook actually has, for those of you interested in just recreational running, Bolingbrook has a fun run club, and they are coming out in as a group, and we appreciate their support every year. Other run clubs around the area are joining in as well. Our corporate sponsors this year are bringing their employees in to run with us. We've got people who are going to be running with us on site, traveling to Bolingbrook actually. We have a block of rooms at the Aloft in Bolingbrook for our traveling guests. They're coming from Wisconsin, they're coming from New York, they're coming from Texas, they're coming from Florida.
Oh, wow.
They're coming from everywhere, and even California actually this year. And they're for people to travel for a 5K. Again,
It shows heart.
yes, and I'm so grateful for the support that we're seeing. Last year, we had the pleasure of having others like myself with similar stories join us. We had 7 runners with Parkinsons complete the race last year. We have a runner last year who completed with the race with us with cerebral palsy. We have individuals that was on their own journey for better living. They're on a weight loss journey. They came when they started training for the race was close to 500 pounds. They showed up at the day of the race 100 pounds lighter. So, stories like that is I think, another reason why we keep it going. And this year is no different. A lot of the people traveling in from out of state are supporters of the foundation, and we've become friends, and we support each other through our efforts. And we're going to have probably close to 10 runners this year with Parkinson's completing the race. And there's some extraordinary stories out there. I mean, if anything, you guys, people want to come out and just meet some of these people. I run a lot of miles, but we've got people who are CrossFitters doing with Parkinson's. We've got century riders. These are people that ride their bikes for 100 miles at a time with Parkinson's. We've got people who are trying to compete in the American Ninja Warriors competition.
Wow.
Who has Parkinson's.
Are they going to tell their stories before or after the race?
So we're going to give them an opportunity if they care to share their stories either on social media or at the race themselves, and we certainly want to encourage them to share their stories with everybody there. But we've got the support we're getting is just incredible.
And how much did you raise last year?
Last year we raised just over $12,000 for the foundation, which we were thrilled. Our goal last year was to raise $10,000. We came in at 12, so we're raising the bar this year. Our goal this year is to raise $15,000.
I think you can do it.
So I've said it now publicly, which means we got to do it now. So I think we are well on our way. There's still a lot of work left to do. Some of the changes that we've made this year compared to last year is that last year we had an overall winner for men and women categories, first place, second place, third place. And this year we're going to have the same overall winners, first place, second place, third place for both men and women. But we're also going to have age group awards as well. So we're going to have 20 and under, and then 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60, and 60 plus. both men and women categories, first, second, and third place as well.
That's very nice.
So that will be exciting, and I think it's great to recognize how hard people work to compete, even though it's a run walk, it is still a race.
Oh, yeah.
Our winner last year ran the race in just under 16 minutes. So if you think about that,
I can't even do a mile in 16 minutes.
Exactly. If you think about it, our winner last year in the men's category, ran it just under 16 minutes. And with that time, he could have easily won much bigger, much larger races, 5Ks.
Wow.
So we have world-class runners coming. And then our women's winner came in just under 20 minutes, and I believe 19 minutes and change. So we've got some good runners, but at the same time, we are very family-friendly. So we also have walkers, we have people with strollers. I do believe the last person came in just over an hour. So, don't let speed discourage you from coming out.
And you'll be open till the last person crosses that finish line?
We will, yeah. We leave nobody behind. And besides, we've got the kids race that comes on after our 5K has kicked off.
Are pets allowed?
Pets, unfortunately, are not allowed.
Safety reasons.
For safety reasons. But we're working on that for next year.
See, now, okay.
We have to convince.
Yeah.
We have to convince the insurance companies.
Oh, the dogs will be fine.
Yes.
I've seen them in other races, so yeah.
Yep. The more experience we get, the more leeway, the more leash we're gonna get.
Very good. Very good.
But what's great about our race is that it is mostly locally supported.
Andy's Custard, are we doing it again?
Yes, Andy's Custard was great to us last year. They came out last year to support us. In fact, the second place winner of the men's division was an Andy's employee who ran in just over 16 minutes.
Wow.
So frozen custard fuels speed. Let's just... but yes, Andy's Frozen Custard is coming back out again. They're going to be providing shakes to all of our runners. At the end of the race, head on over to Andy's for a shake. They're going to be providing our kids race with kids size frozen custard, and we're grateful for their support again this year. We've got other businesses in Bolingbrook that are supporting us, and I know I'm going to forget somebody, and I'm going to feel terrible. But Noodles for You is going to come out, and they're giving everybody a $10 gift card, right? If you think about it, that's a free lunch.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a coupon where you have to spend X amount of dollars. It's a gift card. You can go in there and buy a can of Coke and come back next time and use the card again. It is a true gift card for 500 runners. So let's think about that, right? They're investing $5,000 in our runners. We've got Summit Chiropractic coming out to provide our runners with massages at the end of the race. We've got Bolingbrook Sign and Banner providing all the signage so that our runners don't get lost. We've got, again, I'm going to forget, but
are all the sponsors on your website?
all the sponsors are on our website, and all of our sponsors are local. Integrated Project Management in Burr Ridge. We've got the MLM law firm in Glen Ellen. And the list goes on and on. So we're very grateful.
And where will the race be run again this year?
The race
Same place?
will be held at Johansson Park, which is inside the Barclay Estates subdivision. The address is 770 Hartford Lane. That's the start and finish. And the parking parking is at the Johansson Farms right off Boughton.
Oh, okay.
Okay, which is just a short walk to our race site, less than a quarter of a mile, and makes it convenient so we don't clog up our neighborhoods with streets. Correct. So we're looking to have a good time. We're hoping. Actually, we know that the weather is going to be better.
Yeah.
So last year it was 17 degrees at start time. This year, hopefully, it's it'll be much warmer.
Yeah, you never can predict Chicago weather, so.
That is true. That is true. So we are prepared, rain or shine, to have the race. So hopefully, knock on wood, we're going to have another great event this year.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about, or just something, a last plug for the 5K, or just to people in general about keeping with it and not giving up?
Yeah, and I think if there's any message that comes out of Shake It Off 5K or my own personal journey over the last 4 years, and I always reference the last 4 years because that's really where I found myself, found sort of my place in the Parkinson's community. Again, the first 8 years I ignored everything. I didn't do anything about it. The last 4 years, I've raised, my wife and I have raised, well over $50,000 for the foundation. You wake up every morning and with a positive attitude to keep moving. Anything that you can do today to better your situation is going to help extend, your quality of life. As I mentioned, every year I keep pushing myself. Last year was definitely my toughest year. I logged a total of 4 marathons last year. To date, so since I started running in 2012, I've completed 10 marathons and 56 half marathons in that time span. And what was special about my last marathon is it happened on the week of my 40th birthday in Walt Disney World with my family.
Well, what better 40th birthday party?
Exactly.
Now, if I remember correctly, are you training for a triathlon, or did you do a triathlon?
I did. So I never knew how to swim until last year, and I did a triathlon. And this year I've set my sights on a half Ironman.
Wow.
And that's going to happen in October. So my schedule this year is light in the beginning of the year. So so far this year, my official race that I've completed was just a Disney marathon. It was actually the Dopey Challenge at Disney World.
So that's like 3 or 4 races.
It's 4 races in consecutive days. It's a 5K on Thursday, 10K on Friday, a half marathon on Saturday, and a marathon on Sunday. That's the Dopey Challenge. And then my race schedule really picks up now when spring rolls around. But my training this year is going to be focused on the Chicago Marathon. It'll be my 5th one in early October. And then at the end of October will be my half Ironman in Austin.
So not only a half Ironman, but also in really, really hot weather?
Yes. It's spring, it's fall in Austin. So hopefully we'll be in the 70s. But it's a 1.2 mile swim, followed by 56 miles on the bike, and then 13 miles on a run.
And that's only half of.
That's a half Ironman. So we'll see how that goes before I
try for the real.
Before I try for the real one.
Full,
yep.
Yeah.
And then I will once again be returning to the New York Marathon 2 weeks after that.
Wow.
So it's Chicago Marathon. 2 weeks after that is the Austin half Ironman, and then 2 weeks after that is the New York Marathon.
Well, I hope I get to interview you again next year and find out how all of that went, because I know you're going to be able to do it.
I'm looking forward to it.
And so how much do we have to raise again to get Michael J. Fox here? I forgot what you said last year.
So there's never a guarantee.
Oh, right.
There's never
right.
a guarantee, but I'm sure we can get his attention if we can raise $100,000 or more.
Okay.
So.
Well, Bolingbrook, we have to raise $100,000. Thank you so much for coming back again this year, and I hope you color the country. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, we're coloring the map is what we're calling it. So every state we have a representation in. For the virtual runner, we color that map. We color that state in. So we want to color the entire map this year.
And then hopefully next year we'll color the whole globe.
we'll take it a step at a time.
Right. Okay. Okay. So U.S. this year, North America next year, and then in a couple years we'll have the whole globe.
I like your approach.
Okay.
I like your approach.
Okay. I'm gonna come back, and we're gonna come back in 5 years, and we'll have the whole globe covered.
Awesome. And then by that time, hopefully we'll raise well more than $100,000, and we can see if we can.
Well, hopefully within 10 years, we'll put them all out of business.
And you know, I truly believe that in my lifetime, we will find that cure. I truly believe that.
Well, with more people like you and the Fox Foundation, I think it could happen.
Thank you.
And it will happen. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you check out Shake It Off on April 9th. And what is your website?
Website is Shake It Off 5K. That's Shake It Off as it's spelled with the number 5 and the letter K.com. You can read my story on the site, and you can register. Check out all of our sponsors. Click on their links, please. Yeah, you can get all kinds of information there.
Thank you so much, Jimmy, for coming today and telling us your story and about the Fox Foundation and about Shake It Off.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.